Welcome back to the Fantasy Endgame. I'm Pierre and he's Chris. Now, you've seen us plenty of times on here telling you who to draft, who not to draft, who we're worried about. And now we're going to just show you basically how we draft and how you should be drafting. That is, if you want to win. First of all, some ground rules. This is going to be the perfect draft for a 10-team league. As you can see up there, PPR, right? Most people are rolling with PPR leagues these days. And as far as the format, one quarterback, no super flex, two running backs, two receivers, a tight end, and a flex. So, Chris, first of all, given the parameters I just laid out, how do you attack a draft like this as far as just general strategy?
Yeah, that's a great question because it is different than a lot of the leagues I play in. But this is how my home league is set up, and I'm sure it's how a lot of your home leagues are set up as well. And in a draft like this, even though it is PPR, I do actually tend to favor running backs a little bit more because we only need to start two wide receivers and one flex. And since it's only a 10-team draft, there's a good chance we can get some really good wide receivers later. I also tend to favor elite quarterbacks and elite tight ends a little bit more, basically put a higher emphasis on my starting lineup since there's always guys on the waiver wire that you can grab throughout the season and bench isn't as important.
You always have to look at that first. Before you draft, before you talk about players, you have to look at your league's settings, rules, scoring, everything. Okay, I know that a lot of you have heard that before if you've played, but some of you maybe aren't, experienced beyond last year, maybe even this year, maybe just starting out fantasy football. Glad you're here. We are here to help you and try to figure out how to make it a winning season. But look, it matters. PPR versus non-PPR, what they call standard, it's different, right? You cannot draft the same way. A 10-team league versus a 12 or a 14-team league, it could play out very differently as well. So the fact it's 10 teams, a little fewer competition, that means you really have to go more for upside. There's no need to play it safe here because during a regular season, right, waivers, it's going to be a lot easier to find a guy that you can throw in there instead. The fact that there's only one flex play, two receivers, it's not a super deep roster. So really, you should be going to try to find the best player at every position in every round. Of course, you should do that anyways, but you know. All right, are we ready to start this thing?
We're ready. Let's kick it off. I got the number one pick here. Here we go. And I'm no surprise here. I'm going with the consensus 1.01 Jonathan Taylor. He's the RB1 pretty much in every draft. You're going to see him as the number one running back last year. No reason not to take him. So Jonathan Taylor is my pick.
Yeah, and you're going to see pretty much most drafts start this way. Running backs first, but with those three stud receivers, it's always those same three going in the first round, right? I think this is pretty much going on the consensus. We're letting Sleeper draft the rest of these picks for us, so it goes basically how most of your drafts should go. I'm a little surprised there. You saw Kelsey going 9. That's not always going to happen, is it?
No, definitely not. But I am okay with elite tight end early in these drafts, in this format.
Yeah. I'm definitely on board with it. You know that. Okay, so at this point, the top three receivers are gone. There is a receiver I like next. Probably the only one I would consider at this point still is Davante Adams. But first, I'm going to grab my favorite of the running backs that is left. Look, I think DeAndre Swift and Saquon Barkley could be breakouts this year, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to go with the guy who has fallen. That's Austin Eckler. And I'm not going to double up on running backs because I don't need to in a 10-team league. So I'm going to go Davante Adams. I don't know. Do you think RB is the way to go in a format like this?
It depends who's there. It's my preferred strategy. So I was really hoping Barkley would make it to me. If Barkley had made it to me, I would have gone RB. It depends on which running backs though and which wide receivers are there. So with Barkley off the board, these running backs here, there's none that really stand out to me for RB. We still have some good wide receivers here. I think I'm going to actually go against my typical strategy, which is RB in this format. I'm going to grab two wide receivers here that I really like. I'm going to go Evans and T. Higgins here, who I both think have top 10, top 5 upside this year. So I'm going to shore up my wide receivers, and then hopefully some of these running backs I like fall to me in the next couple of rounds.
There you go. And look, I honestly think it sounds strange, but at where I was at the turn, I felt worse about the drop at wide receiver after Adams than I did about the rest of the running backs. There were a few running backs I feel are kind of in similar tier, and one might fall to me. After Adams, there's guys I have question. Like Diggs is fine and seems safe, but I don't feel like he's a top 12 pick, right? So I wanted to snag Adams there. Now on the way back, I got 2 picks. Okay, so running backs that are left, I still see two that stand out. One of them is, of course, my guy. You know who I'm talking about. You already know who I'm going to pick, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Everybody knows you're going to pick it.
All right. It's not Zeke. It's not James Conner. That's for sure. I like Montgomery, but not this early. Look, Brees Hall, so much upside, so tempting, but got to go Cam Akers. And then I'm going to go with the best receiver left. And to me, the guy that could be a breakout player, I think you agree with me, it's Michael Pittman.
Yeah, definitely. Agree with you, Pittman. He's going to be a huge breakout this year for sure. So now I'm looking. So, okay, so I am good with Brees Hall here. If you've watched our videos, you know I am huge Brees Hall fan here. I think as my RB2, that is awesome. I think he's a top 10 running back. And now I'm really torn here between Etienne or one. Actually, none of these receivers that are on the board. Let me scroll down a little bit and look here. I do like Sutton. I do like Hollywood Brown a lot. But again, in this format, the tight ends, once Pitts is gone for me, I'm kind of off tight end a little bit. This is really, I gotta be honest, this is really tough for me here between these three guys, but I think I'm gonna go with a running back who I also think is being quite undervalued in Jacksonville, and that's Etienne. And I'm gonna have a running back in my flex, which again, I don't mind a running back in my flex in this format.
Hey, Etienne is basically going to be like a receiver, isn't he, with how he's used out of the backfield. It's full PPR. He's going to get a boost in that format. So definitely a great potential breakout pick there. Okay, so as predicted, some of the receivers who I'm looking at next are going off the board. Mike Williams would have been nice, but of course, I get sniped by Team 9. Thank you, Team 9. I agree with you. Tight end, those top 5 are off the board. I can wait. There's nobody that you need to pick this early in a 10-team league at tight end. There's guys I like, but not that I need. And so I could go both because, look, I'm at the turn, a running back and a receiver, but let's see who's on the board. The receiver that stands out to me is normally would have been maybe Marquise Brown, but now there's worry about his hamstring. I'm not crazy about what I'm hearing about Kyler Murray. I'm actually going to go one of your boys, and that is Courtland Sutton. Could be the wide receiver 1 for Russell Wilson.
Yep, like that.
Definitely like him better than Judy. Definitely like him better than DJ Moore. You'll be relieved there. And then I'm going to get my third running back. This one is tough because there's not anybody great who stands out. I know you're going to think this is like, oh, kind of a safe play. It's not. Elijah Mitchell is the RB1 for a really good offense in San Francisco. I know Ty Davis Price is going to get worked in, but Mitchell's going to be the guy who leads the team in yards and carries. So as my RB3, I feel like there's a lot of upside there.
Yeah, no, I like that pick. Definitely like that pick. Like that roster you're putting together there. So here's where I do, like I said, I like to shore up my starting lineup if I can. I still really like Kyler Murray as a top 5 QB this year. And given the settings in this draft, I'm going to go with Kyler here. And then again, I know Marquise Brown is kind of dealing with that hamstring, but man, I'm just too high on him. I think to pass on him here. I am also looking at Dalton Schultz to get that tight end because it is nice in this format to have a tight end you can just set and forget. But I think the upside of Hollywood is too much for me to pass on. I'm going to I don't say gamble, but I'm going to gamble that his hamstring is fine, and I'm going to take Marquise Brown here.
Look, I said all that. I have a lot of Marquise Brown on team, so I hope he's fine. And it's nice that you got that stack. So the upside there is massive, especially talking about the playoffs. Look, all these things we're worried about now, week 1 isn't even close to happening yet. So by fantasy playoff time, that could be a winning stack. All right. I was really hoping Jalen Hurts would still be there. He's not there. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Quarterback, like you said, having a stud quarterback could make a bigger difference here in the shallow league, but everybody's got a quarterback except for one. So I think I'm going to wait. I think I can wait at quarterback at this point because I see my guy still out there. So I am going to wait on quarterback since the one I wanted is not there anymore. You took, you didn't take a tight end. I'm going to take the tight end. Sorry that you just talked about, guys. Put out a short video on this. You know, I like Dalton Schultz.
Yeah,
Dalton Schultz. All right. So I nailed down who I think is going to be a top 5 tight end, and I waited until round, was it 8 to do it? 7, base 7, 8, same thing.
7, 8, same difference.
Either way, same thing. And then look, Darnell Mooney is the wide receiver 1 on his team. He's the wide receiver 4 on my team. Every time I will take that.
Okay, well, I do say I like going tight end a little earlier here, and this was your league-winning tight end this year. If you watch our league winners video, and I like him a lot. You sold me on him, and again, it's just nice to have a tight end you don't really have to worry about, and that is Dallas Goedert. So now I've got my starting lineup and a bench in. So now I can just start draft. Now the nice thing is I've got my lineup. I've got Marquise on the bench. I can just start drafting best available here, and let's move this up. Let's look at the running backs. Who do I like here? I do really like Edmonds. I might grab Edmonds here. Let's see who else we got. What do we got at wide receiver? You know, I like Edmonds, but man, I've got 3 good running backs. I love Elijah Moore this year. I think, you know, a lot of people are worried, you know, because they drafted Wilson, but I think Elijah Moore is going to be a beast. I'm going to grab Elijah Moore here as my second wide receiver on the bench.
I knew you would do that just as I was adding him to my queue, and there go 2 my targets. Look, this is why if you really want your guy, you can't wait. I was hoping either Moore or Gabe Davis would make it back to me, and they didn't. That's all right. That's a chance you take, right? Okay, so at this point, my top wide receiver targets have been taken, but I'm okay taking Russell Gage, the wide receiver 2 for Tampa.
Wait, what about Julio?
Discuss this.
What about Julio?
Huh? Oh, Julio, I forgot. How could I forget? Look, we talked about this. Julio and Kyle Rudolph and all these random people. I don't care. Russell Gage is going to get a ton of targets. Chris Godwin is not going to be ready for week 1. We know we love Russell Gage, and this is a good ADP. So taking him, bolstering my receiving core, and then I'm going to take a guy that's probably the RB1. It's not going to be a you know, bell cow situation, but in full PPR.
Yeah.
You know, you love Chase Edmonds, and I got my hometown pick.
Yeah, well, I sniped you on Elijah Moore. You sniped me on Edmonds. I was really hoping to make it back to me. So again, just drafting for best available here for some depth. I'm going to take another guy that you know I love, Rachaad White. I'm not a Leonard Fournette believer at all. I think White will have a role. Sleeper really liked that pick, apparently. And then you know what? This is the part of the draft where you're shooting for home runs here, right? You're just trying to hit home runs, especially in a 10-team league like this. Because if you miss on these guys here in these last few picks, it's no problem. You drop them, and like we said in the beginning, will be plenty of guys on the waiver wire. I love Sky Moore. I think Sky Moore has a great chance to be. I got the double wow. I think Sky Moore has a great chance to be the number 1 wide receiver on the outside. Juju will be in the slot, but I think he can easily beat out MVS as Mahomes' number 1 receiver. So I'll shoot for the home run there.
It wouldn't be a sleeper draft with Chris if there wasn't at least one wow. Like on our mock drafts, like I think pretty much every pick, I think it's like auto set so that every pick you make is a wow. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you know who you want. All right. Let me take my quarterback because I really have no time left.
Nice. Yep. Love it. If you miss out, I think if you miss out on one of those elite quarterbacks, you just wait and take Trey Lance every time. Love it.
Here's the thing. He doesn't have to be a great passer, right? Like Jalen Hurts' passing numbers last year weren't great. He was still, what did he rank in fantasy? I mean, he was top 10, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he was 6 and he missed a game.
Yeah. I don't need Trey Lance to throw for 70% completion rate, right? He will run in touchdowns. He will run in yards. He has Debo, Kittle, I mean, Ayuk. Okay. So Trey Lance could be a league winner there. I got him late. And then let me explain again, guys. This is not the my favorite players draft. This is not, the guy that scored X amount of points last year draft. This is the perfect draft of players that could win your league. So with that said, I'm going to take a guy I personally am not crazy about because he's a Gator and I'm a Hurricanes fan. And he did nothing last year except for one game. And you know what? He could be a league winner this year. I'm taking Kadarius Toney because I like winning in fantasy.
You didn't get a sleeper wow, but you got a wow from me on that one. You got a wow from me. All right, last pick of the draft here. Again, just shooting for upside because, like I said, if you miss on this pick, it's no big deal. You drop them and grab. Like, look at the players that aren't even getting drafted in here. Like Darrell Henderson, Nyheim Hines, Alexander Madison. We got Tyler Boyd, MVS. I mean, you're going to be able to find guys on the waiver wire with no issue. So I'm going to go. I like Patrick. I kind of like Pickens, but I'm going to go with a running back here. I'm going to go with, oh boy. I'm going to go with Darrell Henderson, who I did talk about. Oh, there we go. We got to end it with the wow. We talked about it in the handcuff. We talked about it in the handcuff video. I think he's being a little undervalued. I think he could even have, a role with Cam Akers. So there we go.
This is our perfect draft, 10 teams. We'll do this for other formats too. We're going to try to do as many different ways as possible, show you from different draft slots. You're going to see different builds from us. You will not see us draft these same players if it's a 12 or 14 team league, if we pick from the 8th spot. All right. It's all about thinking ahead, getting ahead of the game, trying to figure out what's going to help you win for that particular draft. All right, that does it, guys. Check out all the rest of our videos, live streams. We're going to be here all year long to help you win, crush, and dominate your league.